Hi, my name is John Ranney. Welcome to John Ranney Music. Today I'm going to do a beginner guitar lesson on 3 open chords. 3 chords that are used in hundreds and hundreds of songs that you've heard. Probably songs that you want to learn to play and strum along with, and maybe even sing if you're a singer. So I'm going to show you how to play these chords and some basic strumming techniques to use with these chords. So let's get started. So the first chord we're going to talk about is the D chord. So the D chord is played on mainly the top 4 strings. You can add this A string down here in the chord if you want, but you don't want this E string because it doesn't really fit in the chord. One of the things you can do to make sure you don't play this is just use your thumb here to mute it. And if you strum it, you don't really hear that. But let's talk about how this chord is made. So this chord is made using 3 fingers on the top 3 strings. So on the first string, your middle finger goes on the 2nd fret. That's an F sharp. And then your 4th finger, your ring finger, goes on the 2nd string on the 3rd fret, which is a D note. And then your 1st finger goes on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. So these line up here, and that one goes there. So those are the 3 notes that you're fingering. Again, the 4th string here is open, and so is the 5th. So that's your D chord. One thing you'll notice about the D chord is, well, you've got your pinky here free to put here if you wanted. Then you've got a D suspended chord. And you'll hear that in a lot of songs. You'll hear that being used. This is so common. Right? You've heard that before, haven't you? So that's your D chord. The second chord we're going to talk about is a C chord. There's a C chord. So a C chord uses 5 strings. Again, you can use the 6th string if you add this G on here. But we'll just use our basic structure, which is 5 strings with 3 fingers. So 1st finger, 2nd fret, 1st finger, 2nd string, 1st fret, C note. And then you've got, so the top string's open, then you've got that C note, then you've got the 3rd string open, that's a G, and then you've got this E there, it's an E, so that's the 4th string, 2nd fret with your middle finger. Finally, a C down here with your ring finger. So note you can hammer on to get that note, but that's your C chord. If it's a bit of a stretch at first, you can just play the top 4 strings, but learn to get that stretched out onto that C down there because you're going to need it. All right. A note on positioning your fingers behind the frets. So you don't want to be on the fret. You'll get a bit of a muffled sound. You don't want to be too far back. It's going to be hard to keep the sound clean. Right in the middle is okay. But be a little closer to the fret than the middle. So a little ahead of middle toward the fret without touching the fret. So you want the string to be touching the fret freely because that's what shortens the string and gives it the tone, the sound. Okay, so that's your C chord. Finally, we're going to talk about a G chord. This is usually the first chord that people teach you, or guitar teachers will teach the G chord. Because you can play a G chord just by playing this note and the top 4 strings. So you got your pinky here. I I like my pinky here, not this finger. In some cases I'll have this finger, but very, very rarely. Most of the time I'm putting my pinky on this G, and I'll explain why in a minute. So you've got your pinky on the first string, 3rd fret, and then the next 3 strings are open. All right, so that is actually a G chord. But if we want to fill out the sound, then we add our middle finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret. That'll be a B note. B, and then on the 6th string, we're going to add the ring finger on the 3rd fret, and that's a G. That gives you the G bass of your G chord, and you have a nice full 6-string G chord. Now, why do I like it like this? Well, this finger is freed up to play some of these notes in here. Right? Now, sometimes people do a G like this using 4 fingers. And the difference here is now we've moved our first finger to the 5th fret. Sorry, 5th string, 2nd fret. Our middle finger to the 6th string, 3rd fret, and this new note here, this D, our ring finger on the 3rd fret, a little bit awkward when you first try to do it, and then our pinky again here. And what that does is it just adds this D note. Instead of it being a B, we now have a D, so it just changes the color of the chord a little bit. Suspend it like that if you want. Nice. Add that 9 on the top of the G chord. It's a G9. Or D, so that's a suspended 4 now. G suspended 4 if you leave that open. But our basic G chord is done like this. And so now you have D, you have C, and you have G. And incidentally, that is a 5, 4, 1 progression. So if we go. So listen to those chords when you're hearing songs and you hear that pattern, especially this. You know how that's done now. Okay, so listen, practice that movement, those 3 chords, and you'll be learning to play a lot of songs. One other thing I'll point out is, you know, I started on the D and then went to the C and then the G, so that's 5, 4, 1. Most songs using those chords will actually start on the G. Because that's the tonic, that's the 1 chord in that key of G. All right, so there you have it. If you have any questions about these chords, if you want to know the name of some songs that are played, well, I can actually show you that. So a couple of Pink Floyd songs that use those chords. You got Mother. Mother, do you think they'll drop the ball? Right, you've got Mother. Okay, so that's that. What's another song that uses those chords? Take It Easy by the Eagles. Well, there's a lot more chords than those 3 chords in Take It Easy, but it starts with that. Walking down the road trying to loosen my load, I got 7 women on my mind. There's the 3 chords right there. Okay, so There's a lot of songs out there that use these 3 chords, either some of them or just those 3. So keep that in mind when you're listening to your music. And I hope you found that useful. Again, leave any questions in the comments and or any other comments. And stay tuned. On the next lesson, we'll talk about the 2 other open chords, E and A. And we'll talk about some of the songs that use those chords. All right? Have a great day. Practice those chords. Listen to some your old classic rock songs, and you'll hear those chords all over the place. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.